Okay.
Just give me a thumbs up, Roger, when you're ready. Okay. Okay. So, Yogomitra, okay, you're recording as well. Okay. So good evening, everyone. My name is Mitali Banerjee, and I'm the acting executive director for the Edmonton Multicultural Coalition. I would like to welcome you all to our day 2 of our event for the Building Bridges Together, wherein we are going to be exploring, learning, and sharing knowledge about Indigenous and ethnocultural traditions, rituals, and ceremonies. So before we begin our event, I would like to acknowledge that we are on Treaty 6 territory, a traditional meeting ground, gathering place, and traveling route to Cree, Soto, Blackfoot, Métis, Dene, and Nikota Sioux. We acknowledge all the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit whose footsteps have marked these lands for centuries. So today we are holding the event as part of our Indigenous initiative, which is part of our intercultural approach in our work. As well, people from ethnocultural communities have shown or expressed interest in learning more about Indigenous traditions, ceremonies, and cultures. I hope the Indigenous communities will also learn a lot through this event. So, without wasting any more time here, um, I would like to straight away go to some questions that we had from our previous day event. And I would request our panelists here. Today we have panelists from the Edmonton Bengali Association, Geeta Das. Mm, Devulina, could you? Yes, thank you. So she is Geeta Das, one of our panelists here. Our next panelist is Ashish Banerjee. And our third panelist is Shanjoy Mukhopadhyay. So we are very much honored to have our elders here from the Edmonton Bengali Association. And from the Creating Hope Society, we have Pauline and Perdita. Am I right? So Pauline is one of our elders from the Creating Hope Society, and Perdita is part of the Creating Hope Society as well. So with that, we can start our questions, and some of the questions that we had for our surveys, where I'm going to say some questions and then the panelists can answer them. So starting with the ethnocultural community, the first question that we have here is, do you know who is Brahma in Hindu culture? So for this question, I would request Geeta Das. Um, I would actually refer to as Geeta D. So Geeta D, if you could respond to that particular question.
Well, I love to, because Brahma is the creator God who is visible, whereas Brahman, the supreme being, is invisible. So Brahma created this whole creation, and usually his image has 4 heads, and he is thought to be the supreme wisdom as well as progenitor of all the living things and all the inanimate object. In India, there is only one temple of Brahma, that is in Pushkar, because he is not as popular as others. Whereas in Thailand, everywhere you will see Brahma image. That is why I mentioned his image has 4 heads.
Thank you very much, Geeta for that response. So if anybody from the participants here have any questions, They are most welcome to ask, and the panelists will happily respond to them. The next question I would like to ask Pauline is the question was, do you know what is smudging ceremony and what medicines are used for smudging?
There's a variety of them. The most common one we use is sage. We also use sweetgrass. Each one of these medicines have a different property. Sage removes negative energy. Sweetgrass brings in positive or kind emotions. Cedar is another one that we use. And cedar is like a protection medicine. I noticed that when Elsie did the smudge teaching last week or last time, that she also used fungus. I don't use it too often. I understand it's about focusing the mind. It's also I believe helps the immune system. So those are most common ones. Yeah.
You would also use tobacco, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Tobacco is, but it's not always used.
Mhm.
Most commonly would use sage by itself.
Mhm.
Tobacco would be used in combination with the other medicines.
Mhm.
It's also, but we use tobacco more in the way of, in our pipes, of course, but also as protocol.
Mhm.
So as protocol, when you approach an elder, you would go with tobacco. And the teaching, my understanding of that teaching is that you would go to the elder and sit and talk with him, and you would offer him, and it was traditionally enough tobacco to fill a pipe. Okay. Things evolve and change, but that was the original, enough to fill a pipe. And so if the elder could fulfill what you were requesting of him, he would accept the tobacco, fill his pipe, and you would smoke it together as a contract between the two of you. Okay. So that still follows when you would pass me tobacco, say, with a request that if I accept it, I have made a contract with you to fulfill your request. If it's something that I am not able to do, then I would not accept your tobacco, but I might suggest somebody else who has that ceremony that can help you. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And so how would you define a smudging ceremony?
How do I?
Or why do indigenous people do a smudging ceremony? What is the importance of it?
Okay. Um, it helps to ground you and focus you, clear your mind of whatever else is going on so that you can focus on what it is that you're about to do. I smudge every morning when I get up as a way of clearing my energy and focusing for my prayers, my morning prayers. I may go through some stuff during the day where I'm feeling off balance or agitated or whatever. Then I might smudge again just to settle my energy and refocus myself.
Right. Thank you so much. So now I just wanted to check with our Bengali elders here. We have something similar to smudging. So I would request Ashish Da to please comment a few sentences regarding the similarity that we have with smudging.
What I see in the smudging ceremony, you are essentially purifying the body and the mind. And in a puja, it's a prerequisite that we purify our body, we clean our mind, we calm our mind, we get control of all our senses, basically to get that consciousness, divine consciousness into us and into the image we worship. It has to flow through an absolute pure body and mind. And the smudging ceremony is essentially trying to do the same thing. One of the things that I forgot to mention last time, that after we purify the body and mind, the second step is essentially called dhyan. Dhyan means meditation. And we get divine consciousness into us through meditation. We have to get the image first, then we have to capture the consciousness and into us. So, and then we give that life breath to our murti or image. I think the smudging ceremony also talks about mind, body, and spirit. It's a lot like what we do.
Maybe 45 more minutes. Mhm.
Okay, thank you so much, Ashita. So our
Well-
next question is here. Do you know why Hindus use icons and images in prayers? So I'd like to go back to Ashita back again because he had responded to this particular segment in the last event.
Okay, thank you. So I don't know if everyone watched the presentation last time, but our concept of God, the Brahman, it's a formless energy. There's no form. It's difficult to worship an abstract form. That's a consciousness. It's called Sat Chit Anand, which means ultimate truth, ultimate consciousness, and happiness. Sat Chit Anand. It's difficult to worship something that you cannot relate to. That is why we use images that we feel comfortable with, whether they are human, whether they are paternal or maternal, but depending. Hello, can you see me? Oh, okay. You're putting up some presentation there. So we try to worship God rather than worshiping an omnipotent power. We try to compartmentalize it into smaller bits, whether it is for knowledge or for removal of obstacles. So we give different figures that have attributes, which attributes are for the powers that we are worshiping. That's why we use icons.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and again, Hindus are basically what it says is all gods, all worship. Although they look different, they're like rivers flowing to the ocean. So whether it's Christians worshiping or whether it's Buddhists or Muslims, it doesn't matter. We are all praying ultimately to that ultimate Brahman. All the rivers are ultimately flowing to the same ocean.
Thank you so much, Ashita. So I would now like to go back to Pauline again. This is a question regarding drumming. So what is the importance of drumming in indigenous communities? You're mute, my dear.
Myself. I had such words of wisdom and you wouldn't hear them. We considered the earth as Mother Earth, and the drum is considered the heartbeat of Mother Earth. So it becomes a very important part of all of our ceremonies. And, you know, sometimes your heart beats fast, sometimes it beats slow, whatever. The rhythm of the drum responds to that. And you can, depending on how the drum is played, like say if we're, it can be played in a slow way, which calms you. It can be played more vigorously, say for if you're trying to encourage somebody in a dance or something of that, but it's always resonates to the heartbeat of Mother Earth, of the earth.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Pauline. You have anything more to add to that? Or did I just interrupt you there?
No, no, you didn't interrupt me. I think I was just trying to think of how else to explain that. It's a vital part of pretty well every one of our ceremonies. There are different types of drums, just as there are different nations. The big drum is usually, we have a big drum that would be played by, say, 6, 8, 10 drummers simultaneously, which is quite interesting because if you're offbeat, the drum sure tells you in a hurry.
Yeah.
But, and that would be used for, say, if we're doing a dance ceremony. If we're in the sweat lodge, we would use the hand drums. Or if we're, there's many times when we would just use the hand drums, and some of the nations don't use drums at all. They just use rattles. So, yeah, I hope that answers.
Sorry. I've also heard that, there are drum making sessions, and when a person first creates his own drum, he is encouraged to give that drum away as gift. And that is a great honor.
Not only with the drums, but any new thing that you create. Like say, if you made learn to make jewelry, you would give your first away. And again, it's an honor, and the same with the drum. Anything that you do for the first time, you would give it away.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. So moving ahead, the next question, I would like to continue with Pauline. What is the significance of eagle feathers in Indigenous culture?
Oh, that's a big question. You talk about the one God. I agree with that. I agree that no matter where we are in the world, whatever we call that entity, we're all praying to the same creation. So that's one of the hugest similarities I saw. And I do have an eagle feather with me today. The eagle in our tradition is the bird that flies the highest. Okay, so we consider that he acts as a messenger to God, to carry our prayers, to carry our petitions, or our songs. And so he's very, very honored. So if we're in the middle of a ceremony, or we're doing a ceremony and an eagle comes and circles over, we know that we're doing things in a good way. That is, yeah. But the feather itself, it's the highest honor that you can be given. You might consider it like some people you might get a medal for something that you did. Ours is the eagle feather. That's the highest honor we can give. And there are many, many teachings to it. One of the most important ones is that when I hold a feather in my hand, I cannot tell a lie. I have to speak the truth. Okay, so if you were to go, like say you had to appear in court and the judge made you swear on a Bible, that does not have the significance for us as what it would be if we would hold a feather. Because if I mislead you or tell something that's untrue while I'm holding a feather, it is going to come back and I will have consequences as a result of it. And just an example, I worked in the corrections for about 5 years, and I was working with this young man, and he was dealing with a number of issues, including addictions. So while he was holding the feather, he was telling me what his plans were when he was going to go out and get out of jail, and how he was going to make these changes in his life. He was going to quit drinking, and he was going to mend relationships with his family, and whatever. And he was back within about 6 months. And I said, you didn't follow through the commitment you made with that feather. That's why you're back here again. So the consequences are there. And, you know, that's just one example from my own work of seeing that. But it's very, very, very special to receive one of these. And then there's teachings around how to care for it. And there's many other teachings, but I won't go into that tonight. If anybody is interested in learning more, you know where to find me.
Sure, Pauline. Thanks so much for that response. So the next question is, this question, you know, when I sent out the survey, almost everyone said they didn't have any answer to it. So the question is, what is the importance of moon time in Indigenous culture?
I can answer that in a general way. The moon time, as we know, is our menses, right? And women in our tradition are honored because as the life givers, we're the ones that bring life into the world. So the importance of the moon time or the menses is recognized and acknowledged. Much of that got distorted during our time of darkness when colonization, because the Europeans came with different attitudes about that. There are a number of ceremonies and traditions that go and in some cases we still do this, where when a girl comes into her first moon time, then there's a special ceremony to recognize and honor that. I believe there were ceremonies that also recognized when that time of your life was finished, but I haven't been able to find out about them, because much of what got written by the Europeans was from the men's perspective. The women would not have talked to the men and shared women's teachings. The way our society worked, the men taught the men what it meant to be men, and the women taught the women. And it would not be appropriate for the men to speak about women's things. So much of it got lost. You know, the ceremonies, some of them have been kept, but some of them have got lost. And I suspect that that is one that got lost along the way. But we do, there's this particular ceremony we do during the full of the moon, which honors us as women, acknowledges us as women. And as I say, there were a number of teachings around that. I don't think it'd be appropriate to go into them in detail today, but they were very, very important in that without women, there would be no future. And they were well aware of that. So the women were honored and respected. And yeah, so that's the significance of our moon time.
So I also have this, that during this time, women are considered powerful because
Yes.
moon time is a sign that women can give life. During her moon time, a woman does not handle sacred items or medicines or take part in a ceremony.
Okay, and I'd like to comment on that because sometimes there are, I believe, misconceptions about that. I've heard it's because, you know, the women are unclean. It is not. It's because our energy, and I always say, if you've ever had PMS, you know what I'm talking about. With our energy being all over the place some days, that can disrupt the energy of the ceremony. It can disrupt the energy of those sacred items. That's why we don't handle them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Pauline, for coming up with this beautiful explanation. We also have similarity on that particular thing. And I would now like to invite Geeta Di to say a few words regarding the importance of moon time in our culture. Geeta Di, you're mute.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
So what I'm requesting, can I say some other similarity which I've observed until now? Say like the role of medicinal herb, or it is not appropriate?
Sure you can, but let's address the moon time and then we can
let me
go back
address
to
moon time, then I will talk about medicinal herb, and also
Yeah.
I will talk about the Indian eagle.
Okay.
Okay. So about the menstrual period, there are two separate point of view. One is in Orthodox Hinduism, the women do not go to the place of worship. They also consider unclean, so they withdraw from household activities as well as outside activities, and they sleep in separate bed. And it is usually said that she is entering an unclean period. But the other view is people who worship goddess, they think that the menstrual period leads to women's acquiring miraculous power to conceive. So there is a temple of goddess Kamaksha in Assam where the goddess ritually goes through a period of mens, and it is observed by priests in their worship ritual. And so this is two point of view. Also, I want to point out the color of menstrual blood is red. So red is always considered a color of good fortune as well as color of the miraculous power, and it is auspicious. So for many, many Bengali brides always used to wear a red wedding sari, and they also put a red mark on their forehead. And the Bengali mothers always used to wear saris, white sari with red border, because white symbolize the life seed that comes from men, and red signifies the life seed which comes from women. In Bengali, it is called Raja, the red one, Virya, the white one. And their combinations bring. So, in one hand, this is considered a period of uncleanness. In another sect, it is considered divine or miraculous power.
Thank you so much, Geeta Di. Ashish, do you want to say a few words?
Well, Gita Di has kind of covered it. What I've also read, that we follow our own indigenous medicine system, which is called Ayurveda. And in Ayurveda, there are 4 different types of systems circulating within us called prana, apana, samana, and udayana. And when a woman is menstruating, the apan circulation, all the energy, instead of being diverted up and outwards, goes down to Mother Earth. It's going down. There's chemical changes going on, there's hormonal changes going on, and the energy balance completely changes in a woman. It actually increases a lot. And when a woman goes to a place of worship, this energy starts. Now, this is not I'm me saying this is what I've read. The energy sometimes even saps the cosmic energy from the Murti we are worshipping. It diverts. The woman is almost like a goddess herself. So there you are.
I like that.
And I've also heard, like, what Ashish said, I just want to continue a little bit there. What he's saying is that when a woman is in her moon time, the energy is going towards the earth. And when there is a prayer happening, all our energy is going upwards, right? So there, if a woman is in that situation where her own energy is going downwards, and in a prayer place, the energies are going upwards, it creates a lot of disruption. So that is the reason why it causes imbalances in how the situation might change if a woman is menstruating and she's in a place of worship. So that's the reason why in Hindu culture, and same, I think maybe it's the same thing with you guys as well, like with indigenous culture, that because of this interaction of these 2 different kind of energies, women are kept separate so that they can have their own time of rest. They can recuperate, and they can be more strong. They're fed different kind of food, and all those kind of things happen. So thank you so much, Ashishta and Pauline, to talk about this. Is a taboo subject. Not many people would want to talk about this, but I think it's worth knowing the importance of it.
Yeah. I just want to add one thing. It's a time when we encourage our women to pay attention to their dreams, because our dreams are more vivid, and we pay a lot of attention to our dreams and their meanings. Okay.
Yes.
No,
like you mentioned,
one other thing I have heard, that a woman works 24/7. There's no holidays for her, right? In the olden days, especially when they lived in small communities, women were working continuously. Even when men got days off, women were cooking, looking after children. But this was a time to basically give them some time off. They would get 4 or 5 days off to rest and recuperate and get their energy back. It's a system that was set up for the good of the woman in a way. So,
yeah.
And Pauline, like you mentioned, that there is a huge celebration in your community when a girl comes of age, right? When she has her first moon time. And I know for sure in different provinces in India as well, there is a huge celebration. The families are called, the relatives are called, there will be like pujas, and the girl will become a goddess, and there is a huge celebration to do that. So there is a commonality. Probably you didn't know about it, right? And we didn't know that there is a celebration. So I am looking for common things between the 2 ethnoculture, I mean, with you, indigenous and the ethnocultural community. And there are so many things that are common here. So I really love this. So now, Geeta, you wanted to come in and you wanted to talk something about the herbs?
Yeah. The reason is similar to the peace pipe ceremony. We have a ceremony where marijuana is used in religious context so that people can see the vision of the world of mystery So they will smoke it in a clay pipe and they will pass the pipe. Whereas in Ayurveda, that is the treatment side or the medicine side of Hinduism, it is always has been used to cure nausea, to increase the appetite, and many others. So in one sense, you can say that this is the medicine which help you to see the visions. And the other hand, it has definite medicinal value, and it comes from Himalayan mountain range. And so it is a Himalayan medicinal herb. And then I want to talk about our concept of the sacred eagle, which is a mythical bird called Garud. And there are many stories associated with that, but one story is very popular in whole of India, that when Garud was carrying a pot of ambrosia, he went into a fight and it broke in a place called Prayag. And every 12 years we have a very big fair, which is attended by millions of people. So I thought I would also mention that in our mythology, God, eagle is a sacred bird and is mount of Lord Vishnu.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Geeta-di. I'm really loving this. Our last question here is for Shanjoda. And the question is, what is the significance of fire in Hindu ritual? Shanjoda, you're mute, my dear.
Fire is considered as a god in Hinduism. Fire in our, basically Agni, we call Agni in Hinduism. It is derived from language which is very old called Sanskrit, like Latin, Greek, or other languages. It is considered as a friend as well as the protector of humanity in Hinduism. Agni is a fire. As a fire is one of the 5 inert, impermanent element as space, air, water, and earth. It is also considered as a Hindu god, which we witness in 3 different ways. The lightning in the atmosphere, the sun in the sky, at the same time, fire on earth. We would see fire. At the same time, we would see other god and goddess with fire. We do our marriages in front of fire as a witness of fire, water, the people, and other elements. At the same time, after our death, we do cremation with the fire. So fire is a very important in our Hinduism, in our way of life. And as I say, fire, we considered him as a god, as a god, not goddess, as a god of fire. And many times we consider the fire as the mouth of god and goddess, which we convey the food or offering through homa. This is the homa. You could see that. We offered the flowers, sweets, at the same time fruits, water through this homa so that it goes to the god. And if Ashish and Geeta-di, if you like to add something which might have missed, please do it.
I just wish to say that how we see fire as both of as the inner fire as well as the outer fire and as a god. So I just wanted to talk about the inner fire. The inner fire in the body is the energy.
Yeah.
And so when you talk about Manipur chakra in yoga, that is in your stomach region. So that is this fire which help us to digest and manage our body. Then the fire at heart, and then the fire of knowledge. And then many things, energy, power, and strength, everything has been associated with fire, and the great goddess herself came out from the angry roar of all the gods.
Yeah.
That is, she is the composite energy of all the gods, and she's called as a fire goddess. So,
Right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, Pauline, Pauline,
Mhm.
I can't see you. Yeah, there you
Thank
go.
you.
So, do you have any questions for us? Like, are you seeing similarities or differences or anything like that? Just in a nutshell, hey?
Yeah, I spent some time after our first session just going through, thinking about what you had shared in your teachings, and I see many similarities. You talk about one God, but you talk about the goddesses, and for me, we also say one God, but we also, like the Christians call them angels, we call them spirit helpers. So we don't personify them in the same way. We just know that they're there to help you and guide you when you need it. And some people may have personal, we connect a lot to the animals. So like I would say that one of my helpers is a spider, because it gave me some information and gave me some help at a time when I needed it. I learned something from that spider. So that was a helper. Another one that has come into my life, and sometimes they stay for your whole lifetime. Sometimes they're just there when you need them. Another time, there was a point in my life when I lived with a lot of fear. And one of the teachings of the bear is about courage. And I had this amazing vision of a bear, and it was so helpful in helping me overcome a lot of those fears, particularly the fear of flying.
I see.
And so I see that as a similarity. We call them different, but they do the same thing for us.
Yeah.
And of course, the land, the air, the water, and the fire are all parts of our way of relating to the universe as well. We all dance. And we all, many of our ceremonies have the same intent, although we do them differently.
Exactly.
And I think that's, music's important to us through the drums and the songs and the dances. Yeah. One thing that I sort of put down here on my little notes as I was going along was, we never build permanent structures for our place of worship. And the reason for that is that particularly here in this part of the world, we were nomadic people. So we took what we needed from nature to build temporary. And when we were done with them, they returned to the earth. We didn't, yeah. So, and because we moved around, and it wasn't that we just wandered around, we had a definite pattern to our moving. Now, some of the cultures on, say, BC or the East Coast that were not as nomadic as us, they built different structures, more permanent structures. But here on the prairies, we didn't. So, and that's, yeah. So just wanted to throw that in.
Yeah, no, thank you. That is knowledge.
Mithali,
Hello.
can I ask a question to Pauline? Hello?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Pauline, I had a chance to work with a lot of indigenous leaders, in the community. Many times they talked about the fasting. We in Hinduism many of, I mean, everyone's mothers, grandmothers, they do the occasional fasting for the betterment for their own health
That's
and
nice.
mind.
So
At
thank
the
you so
same
much.
time,
So with that, we want
pardon? So I'm thinking that for what reason or which are the days particular in a year you do the fasting?
Fasting is an important ceremony for us. There are a number of reasons for doing it. We mentioned that there was not a ceremony for the young women when they come in through puberty, but for the young men, they would go out on a fast. And the purpose of that fast was to consider, to seek guidance as to what their role would be in the community, who they would be, like seeking a vision as to what their purpose of life was. So that's one reason for fasting. Sometimes we fast in preparation for a larger ceremony, like say to prepare ourselves for a Sundance ceremony, which is the highest ceremony that we do. Sometimes in a time of that you're feeling confused and troubled, you may choose to go out because you go out and you sit on the land with nature to again clear your mind and seek guidance and a closer connection with your creator. So there's a number of reasons. We don't generally fast in the winter, especially in this country or in this part of the territory. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Thank you, Pauline. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else from the audience have any question? Because now we are open to questions from the audience. You can raise your hands. I can see you, but
It's Perdita here. I don't really have a question, but what I do want to say is I am really grateful to be here and to hear about the different teachings and the different cultures. Pauline, I'm really enjoying listening to your teachings, and I'm learning a lot, and I really appreciate that. And I'm also learning a lot on Hindu, and I'm still trying to pronounce some of those words, but I'll try. But I just want to say thank you.
you're most welcome, Farita. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. You know, I was told by the Creating Hope that they haven't done an event like this in the past. So I'm really thinking that, starting with this Edmonton Bengali Association, maybe we could do some more events with a Sierra Leone community, with a Nepalese community. That would be really wonderful, and have all these videos put together as a series. So that would be a lot of knowledge sharing and everything. So, okay. So now Balveer wants to say something. Balveer?
Yes, hello everybody. It is my honor. I think I am attending this. I missed the earlier one, but I was studying from you way about the indigenous community, and there was a little course. And what I wanted to add, which I learned, like being an Indian, and the indigenous people, they also do how, if there are some problems in the community, the elders take the decision and the other people follow them. They don't take the like court system. They don't go to their main first hand. I would say the justice is the elder people, which I think it is also the same thing what we do back home in India, like the panchayat system and stuff like this. I just wanted to add, I found like this is also a big similarity in the cultures, in the traditions, or I would say communities as well. I love this, Mitali, how it's a very wonderful idea to share these similarities and the things how we do together, same things, and it has same meaning somehow. And
Yes.
I think we really should learn as like new generation. We should learn and we should take these things up to the new generation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Pauline, and thank you everybody from Bengali community. I love it. Thanks.
Thanks, Balveer. That was really motivational. Appreciated very much. Is anybody else want to say something here, then we can move on. Okay, Hansa, you're mute. Devulina, do you want to unmute her?
Can we try that, Sangamitra?
Yeah, I'm asking her to unmute. I think she has to unmute.
Okay. Sorry, we can't hear you still. Still mute. You have to do it from your end.
Yeah, she has to do it from her end.
Yes, there you go.
There you go.
No, we can't.
Perfect.
So thank you, Pauline, for your all the presentation today. I just have one question. You talked about that the indigenous way of life is to worship in nature, basically. And we do a lot of worshiping of nature as well. And then you made a comment that you don't build permanent structures, right? But in BC, there may be. Can you talk a little bit more about that, please?
Pauline, you are on mute.
Sorry, I just realized I was on mute. As I said, this part of the country was nomadic, so we moved around seasonally. In BC, they didn't have to do the same nomadic movement to provide for themselves. I mean, we moved around to follow our food sources and our medicines, whereas BC is fortunate that they had the ocean there and so on and so forth, and they didn't need to do that. So therefore, they evolved in a different way with the way they performed the ceremonies. And so they built what, and so did the people from the East Coast. They built what they called longhouses, and they became permanent structures, which were ceremonial lodges, but also the community center of the center of the community, communal life. So that's, and it was just a matter of not having to move. They still connected very much to nature. I mean, the understanding, the indigenous understanding, worldview was very similar, but we just again evolved in different ways of performing our ceremonies.
Mm-hmm.
I would just like to add that in Hinduism, one does not have to visit a temple to worship. Essentially, our body is our temple. If we have a pure body and a pure mind, through our life given, the Atma, the life spirit, we can make direct contact with God. But that takes little effort, and going to a temple, sitting with a congregation, singing together, praying together, helps people focus and get a more sense of divinity. It's like a lot of people don't like to exercise at home. They have to go to a gym to get into that regular habit. But they could as well exercise at home. It's the same thing. One can just sit down and pray by yourself, and you don't need an intermediate priest. You can make that direct connection. It needs devotion. That's all it needs.
And that is another similarity between us, because we also believe that we don't need an intermediary between us and Creator. But there is a power in coming together to pray together. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pauline and Shishda and Hansaji, for the lovely question. So our next question is from Donna. Donna, we can't see you. We'd love to see you.
Yeah, there you go. Here I am.
There you go.
Yeah, there's so many parallels my Christian faith as well. Before I get into those, I learned that today from you, Pauline, that the eagle feather demands truth telling more than anything else in the Indigenous worldview. And I wonder if has there been any effort within Canada to change from the Bible to the eagle feather in the courts and stuff? I mean, I think there's some movement with the Quran taking that place. So it seems kind of a reasonable step. So that's my first question.
Yes, there has been. I think that there still needs to be some education of the legal community to totally understand that and to integrate it in a culturally appropriate manner. But there are steps being taken and to allow that. And it's much more powerful for our people than putting your hand on the Bible, because, you know, like you say, the Quran or whatever are is most precious to us, or most sacred is what's important. So thanks for the question.
I'm really pleased to see that there's some movement in that direction. I thought about, so there's a verse in the Bible that says your body is a temple of the living God. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people think Christians need a mediator, but according to that verse, we don't. So, you know, we have all these assumptions, right? And really we all have so much in common. So that and I didn't realize that from the Hindu perspective as well. So, yeah, it's just inspiring to see how many ways we're connected. Okay. As a white settler, the what struck me as well was your history as a nomadic people on the plains, and that you didn't have permanent structures. And it's one of the reasons that you know, arrogant Christians came in and said that these people don't have a real religion because they don't have places of worship. And it was one of the ways that it was bad anthropology that, you know, that made that judgment. And you know, now we've learned better that there was as much worship or more going on among the Indigenous people as among the settlers, and much probably better faith and religion being practiced among the Indigenous, but it was written off because there weren't these permanent structures. And I've heard the same thing, that they didn't think the Indigenous were good farmers because they put in crops under the trees, which is now called permaculture, which is a really modern, good way of doing farming. But it wasn't farming in rows and with fences and rows around and everything. And so just so many ways that your people were misunderstood, and which led to so much sadness because of those misunderstandings. And I also wanted to comment on the drumming. I lived in Africa where we have the djembe drum, and I don't know who's heard djembe drums here. Does everybody have heard djembe drums? We would go once a year to a special festival where they had drumming, and we would stay up a good bit of the night to hear the drums, because they put you in a different space, literally, emotionally, and everywhere. And I don't know, you described it better than I could, but I made sure my little kids got there, even though they should have been sleeping, because it was just so powerful to have that experience. I don't know if either of you have more to say about drumming from the Hindu or the Indigenous perspective, but the connection to the earth makes sense to me. And I don't know if there's another way to describe that.
Okay, thank you, Donna, so much for your insights and your questions. So the next question is from Ryan. I would request Ryan to unmute himself.
Unmute. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say thank you to all the participants. And this has really helped me grow my spiritual knowledge. And so thank you. And it just, it shows that everybody does pray to God. And I believe it is one divine source. I've felt it. So thanks again, and really appreciate it. Good work.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you so much. Okay, so with that, if there are no more questions, I would like to move on to the next segment where we are going to be, sitting back and relaxing and enjoying some wonderful presentations from both the Creating Hope Society and from the Edmonton Multicultural, from the Edmonton Bengali Association. Sorry about that. I'm wearing two hats. I'm also the cultural secretary for the EBA and work for the EMC as well. Okay, so with that, I would request our technical team to pull up the first video. It is a drumming video being presented by the Creating Hope Society. And the drummer himself, he has introduced himself in the video, so I will not be saying any additional words for him. So can we please have the first video? And I'm
So what you just witnessed was us drumming on the big powwow drum, and from what I was told, it's like it represents the heartbeat of Mother Earth, and when we sing on it, the vibration ripples throughout the land, but also to the universe, and allows those doors to be open so our ancestors can come and visit us in this time of healing, in this time of acknowledging and honoring. And so drumming is a very important part of our culture because it allows us to have that connection in a good, beautiful way.
It's my happy place. Like if I'm mad, sad, I'll go grab my drum and I'll sing a few songs. It makes me feel more calm because that's just what I've been doing since I was just a young one, low one. And makes me feel happier when I'm around the drum. And just, I feel happy. I don't gotta think about anything when I'm drumming or singing and stuff. It just, man, it's a calm place for me.
So for me, I got introduced back in 1991, and I heard this guy singing the yeah, and just I was like, man, that's cool. Like, what are you doing? I never grew up from my culture, so when I seen him and met him, he was from Montreal Lake, Cree Nation in Saskatchewan. And just the way his voice carried throughout the whole treatment center was just kind of inspiring to me to find out, to learn. And he said, yeah, anyone can sing. You just have to, find your spirit, find your guide. And that's where you sing from. That's where we're told you sing from your stomach. Or behind your stomach is your spirit. So when you sing, it's just like you're you're giving strength to your whole body, your mind, your spirit, and your body, you know, because it's energy. It's a beautiful energy, it's a healing energy, and that's why so many people are gravitated towards it, because of the healing that comes from it.
I started drumming when I was just in my mom's belly. My dad was singing to me when I was just in my mom's belly. And then I always liked to hit on a drum when I was little. And yeah, I've been singing since then, so I never stopped. Because it's just, I love doing it, and it's fun. Going different places, singing, meeting new people, meeting new friends. So yeah, I enjoy it for sure.
Some would say singing is life, you know, gives life to those that don't understand it, or for those that understand it, it gives life and meaning and purpose to us as Indigenous people, because it gives us a sense of energy that we all seek to feel good. You know, that's one of the things another once told me, says, why are you doing the things that you're doing? And I told him, because that's why it makes me feel good. He says, that's why we have ceremonies. There was a time in our history where we were told we couldn't do that. And because that we're able to practice it to this day, it helps us to feel good, even the young ones, you know. He's a prime example of, you know, practicing our culture can make you feel good at any moment, at any time. But traditionally in Treaty 6 territory, men were only able to drum. Some women might say, well, us too, we need to drum, us too, we need to sing. Women do enough. They're life givers. And for us, that's how we honor them. We honor the women by drumming it. They sing behind us, they back us up. But traditionally, Nehiwak people, we take care of them. That's how we take care of our women, is by drumming, hitting on the drum, and singing for them, and them backing up, singing for us. And it's like it's a great honor and responsibility to be a drummer, because you take care of so many people, you know, when they're drumming. So it's a great honor to be a drum keeper. It's a great privilege to be, you know, a singer. And so we try to teach young people is to respect that and honor that gift in a good way.
That was really beautiful, hey. So Pauline, we have a question here in the chat box from Manoj Da, and he's asking, what is the meaning of the song, you know, that was sung here?
I don't have the language. I speak only English. So I know that the songs that we sing in ceremony are all prayer songs. They're prayers, whether it's at the Sundance, whether it's at the Sweat Lodge. Those are sacred songs that are sung as prayers. There are other songs that are sung, say, at a round dance, that are more of a social nature. And I really don't know much about the songs that are sung at powwow. They're more, their energy is to help the dancers dance. What the songs, yeah, because I don't have the language, I can't. That's the best I can do to answer that question.
Okay, thank you so much, Pauline. So with that, we go to the next presentation. And here I will be helped by one of our very talented person, and she is Shamba Mitra. She is going to be the EC, and she will introduce the next presentation here. It will be Shishire Shishire.
Thank you. Okay, so Edmonton Bengali Association involves many talented junior artists, and it gives platform to them to show their creations. So our next video would be of one of our little stars. His name is Nishant Das Chaudhary. and he'll be performing a beautiful song called Shishire Shishire. And the song represents the autumn sky and the beginning of the festive season in the Hindu culture.
I would just like to add on to what Shangamitra said. Like we would like to give whatever we have, the elders, the knowledge that we have to our next generation. So this is an effort by this community, by this organization to help the youngsters know the traditions and the culture. So could we now please play Shishire Shishire and watch this little live?
শিশিরে শিশিরে শারদ আকাশে ভোরের আগমনী বিশ্ব আজিকে ধ্যান মগ্না উদ্ভাসিত আশা বিশ্ব আজিকে ধ্যান মগ্না উদ্ভাসিত আশা তাপিত তৃষিত ধরায় জাগবে প্রাণের নতুন ভাষা মৃণময়ী মা আবির্ভূতা মৃণময়ী মা আবির্ভূতা অসুর বিনাশিনী শিশিরে শিশিরে শারদ আকাশে ভোরের আগমনী শিউলি ছড়ানো দিনানিশে শিউলি ছড়ানো দিনানিশে চিরদিনের বাণী ভোরের আগমনী শিশিরে শিশিরে শারদ আকাশে শিশিরে শিশিরে শারদ আকাশে শিশিরে শিশিরে শারদ আকাশে ভোরের আগমনী
That was really wonderful. So these talents, you know, they are being trained. So I really hope when they grow up and if they see this video, they will really appreciate it, hopefully. Okay, so with that, we come to the next presentation here. I would request Devulina to play the video of Eric.
honey watched it. Me, a monkey abike. My chazes. Tabonta, Taskan, a mongyabin. Was in Zafiha, a mongyabon. What's it, Joha? What's it, Joha? In some T-type no. Oh, good day, everybody. And my name is Eric Bearspaw, and I'm from Eden Valley, Alberta, Canada. And I just wanted to share some good words, you know, like what's this dancing, war dances means. It means it's to other tribes like Crees or Ojibways and all these tribes and Stonies, like my tribe Stony and Lakota people, Dakota people. And the dance that we have is called the war dance. Like we dance for victory, we dance for getting ready to go war. Because each men, like when they're gonna get ready to go fight in battle, they honor themselves to keep their hair down. Because either they live or die, because they'll be on the ground with their face paint on. Because they represent, they don't want to be looking without no face paint. If they have face paint on and they die on the ground, they represent their death. And this is how we honor ourselves as men with long hair. We represent that, you know, we're honored to die in war. This war dance is a traditional dance. And I myself, Wapamakfe, like from Eden Valley. And this is the way of life to become indigenous people. And truly learn our languages, learn our teachings, learn our thoughts, learn through our elders that has taught us these things. It's good to learn our elderly, and us Lakota, and Dakota people, and we are very honored to join up with your group, and we like to work with you side by side together as one. Kiss, what's it? Kiss mates. That's a way of speaking. Business. Wait to be na dagun ko nabi ko. When you guys have nabi cha, you get to one ne cups it jabon. Ne dagun ko anistima ko. It's a tia one. Not tia one. Can anistima. Wait to be there. Ne jiro kabi added to kamiko. It's a jup tia one. Knees. We just be enum sitsa. Chaka na en chaknak ti one. It would start be jabon, but it's year again jabon. It's a tanako, nabi up to one. The mind sneeze. Dagun ko, this is it. Dagun ko, never start be as in. No, one rishka again, came not again. Dagun ko, what nabi ko. No, I said Dagun ko, pabin ko. Ani pabiesa, sunyasi. Ne dona tatanga, jack de bigas. Dona tatanga, jack de gas. Ani hibik de one. It's a one in one. Mine's hamba. Dagun ko wait hibik knew that. So in English, this is the stories that we tell what brought us in our culture. It's like what we represent, the water, the circle of life, the directions, 4 directions, and the colors of the people at each time. We represent each day, you know, from the dragonflies represent how much of a wild dancer you are. You're dancing really hard. That's the dragonflies that represent the cross. It's not just a cross, it's a star. How we put it in these black and whites, that represents our people. And this is our outfits. And we have hair in them because we killed the enemy. And we put their scalps in our hair. This is how the breastplate we made. That's in case if we get into a fight, they'll hit us with a tomahawk. It never breaks through because it's solid. And it tells the story how much buffaloes you killed and how much teeth you brought back from the buffalo. It's a rote. They call it wapisha. And these black and whites, they're supposed to be
on here to represent, but we use them to dance with our ways, because these roaches here that we wear, it represents the meeting. There's like so many meanings to it, but to us people, we represent it. It's the horse that moves. You ever seen a horse run? Moves his head? That's how it moves. That's how this one, gotta keep it dancing. And the fan represents the, I gotta say, Wamble, Wagia, Kihiu. Like represents a mouth. Like even though if it's hot on a hot day, you fan yourself, you bless yourself with it, with good thoughts. You talk to your fan, talk to your ego, tell them to protect you on your sleep and on your journey. And this one represents the eagle staff, represents so many things. If an enemy's looking for you in the grass, trying to look for you with a knife, you hold on to this, get ready. Once he comes, you jump, scratch him in the face with it, or rip his cheek off and take off. It's like a kung fu, but it tells the story that you ripped off an enemy's face out of this. It's like a kung fu scratcher, and like how we scrape them off, and tells the story because it was hairs, because we took it from the enemy. And this muscle represents so many things. Like, say that you kill a war chief. You kill a war chief into battle. You kill the leader, and you take his war bonnet, and you put it on, and you dance with it. You dance with it. That you saw that you killed the chief, and you brought it home. That's what represents the black and whites to it. But there's so many meanings to it. It's what I've been told by our elders.
That was so powerful, my goodness. So much information in there. I hope you guys are all enjoying this event with me. I'm really enjoying this. Okay, so with that, we go on to the next presentation here. I would request Shangumitra to bring up Audrija's presentation.
Okay, so dance from an early age can help motivate people to stay active as they grow into adults. And dance has a great significance in honoring, worshiping, and celebrating the feminine form of divinity. And it honors the fact that all humans have the divine energy of Devi or feminine power within them. So our next fascinating dance video is on such a dance by another great artist called, her name is Audrija Dasgupta. Let's play the video.
Jagatam Bhavatam Bhagatam Bhavatam
So how did you guys like that? I was watching Pauline and I could see, oh my God, what happened here? Sorry about that. Pauline, you have any comments?
I was just thinking about the choreography of that and how much work she has put into it. Same as the young man, you know, he's put a lot of time into his dance, but wow, beautiful, beautiful.
So I just want to say
I really got
some
caught
words
up in it.
Yes, yes, I could see that. I just want to say a couple of words for Adrija. She is a trained dancer. She got her training back in India, and she is accomplished dancer. So we, reach out to her when we want to do some cultural programs, and she never refuses. So this was one of her very, very successful event that she did for us. Okay, so with that, we will move to the next portion, and that is going to be our last but one presentation, and that will be the presentation of Melody.
Hi, my name is Melody Cardinal. I'm originally from Saddle Lake, Alberta. I resided in Edmonton, Alberta most of my life. I started dancing when I was 5 years old. When I moved to Edmonton, I started dancing fancy, and I started training in traditional and in jingle as well. So that's how I learned how to dance, was through Edmonton White Braid Society. The style of dance that I did today was called the Jingle Dress Dance, and it's actually from the Lake of the Woods in Ontario. It's an Ojibwe style. The dance came from a dream, from a vision that the grandfather had of his daughter being healed because she was very, very ill. So he saw the dress, he heard the songs, and he decided to help put it together. So once the dress was put on the little girl and they brought her to the circle and they brought her around, she started dancing. She danced around 4 times, and by the 4th round, she was healed. So that's where the Jingle Dress Dance originates from. And it spread to the tribes. It spread like wildfire out here. When we heard the jingles, and we heard this medicine dance that came over here. We all wanted to dance like the jingle dress dancers that we see. This was about in the 80s. So what I'm wearing right now is all done by my own children. They say that the prayer starts before you even step foot into the arbor. The prayer starts with the intention of dancing. It starts with the intention of making a regalia. It starts with the intention of either singing or dancing. So when you put an outfit together, you do it in the utmost prayer, the utmost place of good thoughts and good energy. So we always say we smudge, we pray before we make our outfit, before we start eating, before we start working on our regalia. We usually try to, be in a good mindset. My headband was made by my son. He did the quilling on it. My daughter, my oldest daughter made this. She painted this for me. She also made my dentalium hair ties. My good friend Virgil made these cuffs for me, and they were very personalized, customized for me. My daughter Faith made the moccasins and leggings. She beaded them all for me. So when I dance for my family. I dance for my children. I dance for my community. My uncle from Saddle Lake was really ill in hospital with COVID. And this was just not too long ago, actually. And I asked a bunch of jingle dress dancers to come out in the front of the hospital with me to dance. And my daughter ended up wanted to come and dance with us, and she danced. And my other friend Martina came. We danced 2 songs, the straight song and then the side step that is what they call the medicine, the healing dance. So we danced those songs, and we asked a bunch of people, we reached out to Facebook and we asked a bunch of people to pray as well, because we believe so much in the power of prayer and the power of the jingle dress dance in healing. A lot of times in times of sickness, they'll ask the jingle dress dancers to come out and dance all together and do the side step. So that's what we did, and I'm lucky to say right now that my uncle did recover. So I was actually really, really very, very happy that he did recover and he's well now. So also this sweetgrass, a lot of the ladies dance with the sweetgrass when they dance. The ribbon, I was going to talk a bit about the ribbon. The ribbon that I hold here represents the red road, and this also represents the red road that we walk on. Most of us as dancers and as prayer people, we believe that, to keep our spirit strong, we keep it clean and we stay sober. We stay on the red road, and that's what that represents. The red cones here, they represent the MMIW, the Murdered and Missing Indigenous Women. So that's why we wear the red cones to honor them, and also to dance for healing for the families that have the broken hearts from the ladies that never came home, that never made it back home. So those are some of the things that I want to share with you guys.
Wow, that was so powerful. I mean, yeah, it was really powerful. Hey? And thanks so much, Melody, for sharing your stories, your personal stories with us here. So I have a question here from Nihal, and that was for the Indian dance that Adrija presented. And she says that the dance was so impressive. I guess she's dancing for war as well. So Ashish, now you're here. Could you please explain a little bit about that dance?
Okay. So what Adrija was representing is Ma Durga, Mother Durga. Mother Durga is known for slaying evil. So she is the personification of the energy of the other gods, they give her that energy so that she can go and slay Mahishasur, who is the demon. And so what you are watching is her in the warrior form when she's going out to kill Mahishasur. That's why you see the weapon she's using, and actions are all warlike because she is going to kill Mahishasur. You see in the slide, Mahishasur is on the ground. That's the form being portrayed, but there's of course other forms of Mother Durga, the feminine forms of kindness and love and compassion. But the dance you saw was Mahishasur Mardini. Mardini means killer. Mahishasur is the demon's name. He's called Mahishasur because he takes the form of a buffalo or Mahish, and he takes different forms. The form that is killed in is when he's in the form of a buffalo, and she kills him with a spear.
Thank you, Ashishda. So I have another question here, and this question goes to Pauline. And the question here is, Rajot would like to know about the Pow Pow and the chicken dance.
Mute here. The powwow is a series of a number of different dances that are done. I'm not an expert on the powwow, but and it's too bad the young lady that danced the jingle dance wouldn't be able to answer that question, because I think she would do it more justice. Some of the dances, like this jingle dance, started out as healing dances. Most of the powwows these days are more of a show and a social event. But there's an awful lot of work goes into it, as you can see in all of the regalia. There are different dances for the men and there are different dances for the women. Some of the dances, there's a traditional dance, which is done usually by the older dancers, senior dancers, and it's slower and more sedate. There are fancy dance. The dance is called fancy dance, and there's that's one of the men's dances. And there's a fancy dance for the women as well. One of the dancers is called a grass dancer, and that comes from a very long tradition of when we danced out on the prairie, and the grass dancer would be the first dancer that came in because his job was to flatten the grass so that it was level for the other dancers. So that's what his dance represents. And the chicken dance imitates our prairie grouse, our prairie chicken, and how he moves through the prairie. That is as much as I can explain. I'm sorry, I'm not, as I say, I'm not an expert on the powwow. I go and I enjoy watching it, but I've never participated in it, and I really don't know a whole lot. I am more familiar with the jingle dance because I come from the East and I knew that history before I came out here. So sorry, I can't answer your question better than that. I'm finding out I don't know everything.
No, not everyone knows everything. Like me too. Like I don't know everything about my own culture. So that is okay, Pauline. We are learning, hey. So with that, we come to our last presentation, and that is a presentation by Apula and Ikshita Shom. So let's have the last dance here.
Jai
Okay, so with that, we come to an end of our presentation here. So this last dance that we just saw, it is again a war dance, and the dance form is Bharatanatyam. And both the girls, they are singing to a chant, you know, the music that is being sung, there are some very religious chants. And these girls are just presenting the form of the goddess and how she's going into a war to kill the demon. So that was the story behind this dance. So with that, we come to an end. Of this event today. I am really, very happy and I'm very thankful to the entire team of the Creating Hope Society, Bernadette, Cheryl, Crystal, Pauline, and Perdita. If I may have missed someone, I apologize for that. And the whole team of the drummers and the singers and Melody. So thank you so much. And my own team here from the Edmonton Bengali Association, we have the whole entire executive committee who are present in this event. I am so proud of you guys. The president, Mano Shom, the treasurer, Rajot, who is our technical person, the to-go guy, and then we have Shangomitra and Devolina and Rita D, who they were constant, they are elders and they have constantly been blessing us constantly. So thank you so much, everyone. And my special thanks, I forgot to mention, hey, Akira from the Creating Hope Society, you know, special thanks to her because she's the person who put together the videos here and then edited and all that stuff. So with that, I would like to end this event here. If anybody wants to say a couple of things, what you felt about the event, you're most welcome, and then we can wrap up the event.
I have a question now. If we want to have some presentation from Creating Hope Society or from the indigenous some artists from the indigenous community in one of our event, is that something something which is possible, something Creating Hope does, or can we get some help on that? I mean, of course, right now it's pandemic, so we can't really host any physical events. But when the things improve, definitely it's very interesting to see, those cultural things. And I believe, and I think it would be a very good start if we get this groups into our communities and see them perform, by our broader audience in person.
I can answer that if you like, Mitali.
Yes, sure. Yeah.
I believe that Bernadette will be very, very open to that. And of course, yes, I mean, with this pandemic, it's been extremely difficult because we can't do in person. We actually did a virtual round dance for National Children's Day, and it actually went over quite well. But really, the best thing is for us to do it in person. And Creating Hope Society always used to do a lot of round dances and Christmas feasts and all that kind of thing. And when we can get back to that, and there's other communities for sure that also do it, and we can definitely work on getting that out to your communities. Or we can invite you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I think this is a good start, and it's a kind of beginning of building a relationship. Learning about different culture and sharing things, right? And it's I had seen some performances in Heritage Festival and so, but this was totally something different and very, very interesting and a kind of thing. Honestly, as far as I am concerned, I learned are very valuable things that I didn't know before, things that you actually can't read on books either, to learn from the people directly. So it has been really, really good.
That's great.
Thank you so
much. Thank you.
Yeah. That was the intent. I just want to say few words. That was the intent of this event, that we have seen so many cultural events where performers come, they perform, and they leave, right? And then what happens? We just forget about it. Oh, we can remember, oh, this performance was there, but what was the value of it? What was the intent of it? Did we learn anything out of that? That was the portion that was missing. And I thought, with this virtual thing, this could be a good platform for both the communities to come together and not only watch, but also discuss. This was very small. This was really, very small. Like, even though we had 29 participants in the first one, and now about 25 or 26, but I just want to broaden this up. So it is just not going to be, we see an event and then we go back home and sleep. We need to discuss, we need to understand, we need to find the commonalities, we need to find the differences, we need to talk to each other, build relationships. So with that, thank you very much, everyone, all of you guys who participated in this event. And the recordings will be available. I want to merge both the videos with clippings. I don't want to, this is, I think, a 6-hour event. So I will put the clippings together and then I will share with Creating Hope Society and with the broader audience over here and with the Edmonton Bengali Association. So with that, thank you very much and have a very good night. Enjoy your weekend tomorrow. Thanks again.
Thanks
you.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye. Thank you so
Bye.
much.